What is a typical Talladega race?
4 abreast and everybody within 100 yards of each other and just riding around. Now, it's a little bit better at Daytona because the cars have to handle a little bit better. When that 6 car hit him in the back, the party was on. 28 cars in one wreck. I don't know that I'm a big road race fan, but the road race will be a lot more interested to me than what Talladega was. 90% of what you do doesn't make any difference. It's what somebody else does. In other words, you can drive a perfect race and do everything, but if somebody else messes up, then the party's over. Well, another typical Talladega race.
What is a typical Talladega race?
Well, it's 4 abreast and everybody within 100 yards of each other and just riding around. That's okay. I mean, it looks like a parking lot with nobody moving. I mean, the only thing, the parking lot's moving. All the people in the parking lot going the same speed.
I get all that,
yeah.
And but before the race, they talk about just missed the big one, and they had a big one.
They didn't miss
time.
a big one.
Well,
28 cars in one wreck?
I guess, but
you mean?
But they had one before that took Blaney out, and that was coming to the stage.
Yeah, it was.
It seemed like that. Maybe they need to put where can they put the start-finish line? It's in an odd place on this racetrack, and seemed like they wrecked coming to it. But where could they put the? They need to just let them run. Say, okay, the race is over, and not let them know it. That's what we need to do, I guess.
Yeah, just stop it somewhere in the middle of the race. They wouldn't have a wreck like that.
They wouldn't have time to gang up and wreck. But the trucks wrecked, the Xfinity cars wrecked, and this was a big one. Yeah,
it's like a wreck fest. Okay,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like a figure 8 racing or something like that. But you sit there and I watch the first segment of the thing, and everybody's running, and then, like I say, the 12 car gets hit and he gets knocked out. Then they have another segment that's completely different. Okay, and then they have the next segment, and the only thing that really separated stuff was when they had to stop under green, and then that made more of a race out of it, because had this little pack trying to catch up with that little pack and all that. So that got kind of interesting a little bit anyway.
Well,
but when they all got together, it's just to me it's not racing.
Yeah,
okay, it's just running, and then with 3 or 4 laps to go, then everybody tries to start racing, and that's when they all get in trouble.
But they had a big crowd, Richard, and I don't know how many people watched it on television. I know 2, me and you, but you say it separated them, but they finally all got back together.
That's what I'm saying. They all finally catch up.
And I know when Eric, the 43, survived and finished 5th, which
but he got in the wreck, got his fenders all beat up too, I think.
Well, he got hit. I don't know how bad he was beat up, but he didn't have to stop, so
yeah,
he was okay. But
he went from like 22nd or something to 5th. The one that really gained on all that stuff was the 11 car, because the 11 car had already gotten a wreck, and he was all beat up, and he was probably a half a lap behind everybody, and he was going to run 32nd or something. And once they had that wreck, then he wound up in the first 10. So that saved him on being in the championship race and stuff. Other than that, he'd have been eliminated.
You can't take it away from Stenhouse, because he stayed up there all day.
Yeah, he raced with it. He ran at him.
He was in that green car, and he gave it up there.
Yeah,
but
there was nobody that stood out. Most of the races, we got one, fox or something that gets out in front, and everybody has to run against what speed he's running. But it didn't really make any difference who was in the front. They ran basically the whole race with the same speed, and I didn't see the race really slowing down that much with the people trying to save gas and stuff. Like the last race, they'd slow down 2 seconds running. This time they stayed up there and they run pretty. Front cars run wide open. Everybody else had to sort of run to keep up.
But Blaney got awful lucky. That last wreck.
Well, yeah, that
saved him.
Yeah, he finished way back there. The dead last, I guess. But the big deal is point deals. He was going to be out of the top what, 12 or however many they got running now.
Well, it'll be
And-
8 after
Okay.
this coming
Then,
Sunday.
yeah, he wasn't going to make the top 8, but when they fell out, he gained what? Anyhow, he's still up in the deal, but the whole deal was just I think it's from me watching racing all these years. It's kind of aggravating when the cars just run, and if you're in the right lane, you're okay, and then if you try to, there's no way to get out of that lane because the next lane beside of you, it's full. And at one time there, they must have run 15 or 20 laps, 4 abreast. I mean, and that's not racing. That's just running. Okay.
That's the ugliest part of the race,
Yeah.
when they was 4 deep and 4 wide and 9
But
deep.
I
I guess.
I don't know how they can overcome that deal. I don't know any kind of rule deals and stuff. The way they got the cars and stuff now, and as aerodynamic and stuff as they are, and the downforce and the drag and all that stuff. I don't know what they could do basically to change any of that. The way the races are at Daytona and Talladega, it's a little bit better at Daytona because the cars have to handle a little bit better. Talladega, there's enough banking that all the cars handle decent.
I believe I said years ago that they need to take about 30 degrees banking out of it, and I know a lot of
not
people
gonna
don't
happen,
hear that.
okay.
I know that. I know
But
that.
I guess there's a lot of people that watch that and enjoy it. You know what I mean? But a true racer, I don't think can really enjoy that kind of racing.
I sat and watched every lap, every replay, and I was real glad to see the pink car come through with 43 on it. But
Yeah, I thought they would run better than they did, but which car are you going to take and says run good? I mean, that 34, he led for a long time, and once they got ready to pass him, first thing I know, he was running 25th.
he just disappeared and never showed up
That's what
again.
I'm saying. And you thought him sitting on pole, he had the quickest car, and it kind of showed that when the race first started. But so there was no individual that really shined, except like you say, the winner, I guess, was probably the best running and run up front the most of anybody.
But I give it to Stenhouse. His deal was to stay up front
all day.
the time.
Yeah.
And I know some of the strategy on the 42 and the 43. I wasn't there hearing talk, because they come in with one to go and top off gas, and probably get a half a gallon or so in it. I don't know. Maybe they didn't get it full or something. But I wasn't there. But
I think some of those cars right at the end of the race, I was worried about running out of gas because they might have stopped too quick. And when the 2 car was leading the race, right there when they had the bad wreck, and it looked like he just let off on it or something. And I said, what caused that? He probably just ran out of gas.
No, I don't know what happened.
But anyhow, man, when that 6 car hit him in the back, the party was on. 28 cars in one wreck. I think the most they'd ever had was 27 in one wreck. They set a record at Talladega anyway.
But the people was there. The grandstand was full, Richard, and the cars are a long way from the grand. The spotters are using binoculars.
Just to find his car.
And it's a lot of pressure on a lot of people to
do. Well, the big deal there is not 90% of what you do doesn't make any difference. It's what somebody else does. Okay. In other words, you can drive a perfect race and do everything, but if somebody else messes up, then the party's over. And so it depends on just what fate's supposed to happen, not what you do, because a lot of times these guys save their cars. I mean, you see every once in a while somebody hit somebody and get sideways or get out of the groove, but they're able to straighten the cars up. And if they're too close to anybody, buddy, the party's on.
But we was talking a while ago, maybe they should say, okay, we're either going to run 78 laps or 98 laps. and then all of a sudden not tell them when the last lap is, just throw the check and say it's over now, and maybe they won't be a big wreck. But I don't know.
That might save it. I don't know.
But we're close to home this coming week, Richard,
we
Charlotte.
We go to the Roval, and this is completely different. I mean, after running, 190 mile an hour, wide open around the deal, all these guys is going left and right, changing gears. So, I don't know that I'm a big road race fan, but the road race will be a lot more interested to me than what Talladega was.
Well, yeah, I hope it is. And
I think if you got a pretty good car there, you can show it. Where at Talladega, sometimes you got a good car, you can't show it.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. And then we got the so-called road racers. A lot of the circle track boys are gaining on them quite a bit, so they don't run away with it like you used to.
I think these cars evened up a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
okay.
I think it did too.
Yeah. No, I never liked running Talladega. We didn't win but 2 or 3 races down there. It was such a racetrack that even way back when we run, you had groups of cars and had basically the same situation as we have today. There just wasn't as many cars in a group as what they are today. But it was strictly a wide open track, had nothing to do with handling. And, when we went to Daytona, won some races there, a lot of times we might not have the fastest car, but we had the best handling car. So handling is not important at all at Talladega.
Yeah, I remember one race, we was in the last pit going out, and he come by us and we was racing Pearson. We didn't know he'd won until he told us where the start-finish line is. But the difference now is these cars are 100% safer than what they were back when Richard was driving there, at faster speeds probably.
The asphalt runoffs are a lot safer than what the grass is, because most of the time the cars don't dig in on asphalt. Once they get to sliding, they just keep on sliding. But when you run off of asphalt on the dirt, the cars dig in, and that's when they start flipping.
Yeah, I think asphalt's a lot safer, and you probably got a little bit more control once it slows down enough where you can drive it.
When they first started running, I think, because the initial deal was we had a lot of tire trouble down there. So once they got that settled, then you just, when you run your races and stuff, they just had packs of 4 or 5 cars in a pack. They didn't have all the deal. So the cars were not as equal back in the day, and I think that made a better race out of it.
Yeah, and you could set a person up and pass him and probably get away from him if you got a good run and he didn't fall in on you quick. But now there's just a second different in qualifying for this race, and everybody's just, it didn't make no difference.